Every RAGBRAI has many different adventures that you will find yourself on. However, we know there's at least 10 things that you have to do on any RAGBRAI that you do. Hi, I'm Christina.
And I'm Eric, and together we are
Roosevelt's Ride. Today we're going to be talking about the 10 things that you do not want to miss on your next RAGBRAI adventure.
The good thing with these things is that these are on every RAGBRAI that we've read about in the past and we experienced this last year.
And if they're not exactly what they are, or exactly what we say, there's something that will be very similar to it in the future as RAGBRAI continues to grow and evolve.
I'm so excited for this list, to be honest with you, because I love talking about RAGBRAI. We are converts, man. We are no longer RAGBRAI virgins, so let's jump in,
We are converts. So the first one we're going to talk about is the one that you probably hear about the most. It is Mr. Porkchop and Sassy Slushies. They are always paired together, and you will not miss them because it is the giant plume of smoke that you see from about a mile out, and you know that you are coming up on Mr. Porkchop.
And oh man, and it's so savory too, because like when you pull up, you just smell it, and oh man, it doesn't translate through the camera. I wish it could. But if you like a pork chop the size of your face, then you know what? This is the place for you, man. And it's so good, you just grab it by the bone and eat it right away.
Straight right off the bone, right off the coals.
And when you're in line, you already know you're like, oh, you're not missing anything, man, because you're right there and they're grilling it right there. And these grills are huge and they got pork chops everywhere. And they're bus.
The piggy bus!
That's how you know where Mr. Porkchop is. If you can't smell it, you can definitely see it, because it is a giant pink bus. Mr. Porkchop, it looks like a pig. It's awesome.
It does. I love it. It was my favorite bus on RAGBRAI because I love piggies.
Piggies. Yeah. All right, number 2 is what's the deal, yo? It's the pickle guy.
It is the pickle guy.
This guy, he does sell pickle juice, like $1 for all you can drink when you're there.
That's what he did in 2022. If you know, times change.
Right, you know, economy and all that. But you also get pickles, popsicles, everything. And this guy, I swear to you, we called him the RAGBRAI Messiah, because right when you're near the end of the town, or
near the end of the ride.
Near the end of the ride.
Always at the end of the day.
Yeah, he was always near, I don't know, like 5 miles or so, maybe 10 at most, outside of the last town, or the overnight town for that day. But he was exactly where you needed him to be. And he only does this during RAGBRAI. Like, we asked him, we talked to him for a good 20 minutes, and he just fades away. So
he only comes out for RAGBRAI, so we hope he continues to come out for RAGBRAI.
Nolan and I were joking, making a whole doctrine around his appearance, and then just fades away. But definitely don't miss Pickle Guy, because he is awesome. And man, pickle juice, sometimes when you need it, those muscles are hurting, take a shot of pickle juice, it'll get you to the last town.
You will always find him near, he has a green wind guy that does the
flailing tube man.
Flailing tube man. He has a green, and you'll see that also from quite a ways out, and you'll be like, oh, I'm so close to pickles.
Yeah. We look forward to it every day now. Like we did. Definitely.
So the next thing that you have to do on RAGBRAI is a homemade water slide.
Yeah, good point.
There was 2 on the year that we did it, and we missed the first one because it was raining, and that was the worst decision that we made in RAGBRAI.
You missed out on it.
Because it was amazing, but it was rainy, and it was kind of cold and wet, and we were a little bit behind where we wanted to be that day. So we made the fatal decision not to stop, which was the wrong decision.
However, we did get an extra, we got another chance.
We did.
Because on Century Day of all days, and it was hot, and we kept seeing signs for a water slide, and it was, no decision. Yeah, of course we're going to stop. Well, it ended up being about a quarter mile off the route, plenty of signs, and we went right up to it. And we actually got to meet Ryan Van Duzer. That was a highlight of our the water slide. We got to share a water slide moment with him. That was really cool.
We also got to learn how you do water slides on RAGBRAI.
Yeah.
You have to soap up with dish soap, so you're dry, and then you get a little wet, and then you soap up with dish soap, and then you run down a very bumpy ride water slide that is...
this one had rocks at the bottom.
This one had rocks at the bottom, and this one wasn't very steep, so it was very hard to get to the bottom of this one.
Still had a blast, though.
But it was a grand adventure, and it is a memory that we will cherish of trying to go down this water slide that it was not.
Okay, so the quality of the water slide was whatever. But the thing we did learn about water slides in RAGBRAI is we wanted to keep our chamois dry-ish as much as we could. So we went down on stomach first, head first on our stomachs. So, and it was way easier to soap up the stomach than it was anything else. So definitely that's our advice on how to head first on RAGBRAI water slides.
But there's plenty of people that just run and go and then then get back on their bikes and go.
Broke, man.
It's fun.
All right, let me see here. Number 4 is talking to locals. Talking to locals and doing local things, because we got a chance to do so many things we normally wouldn't have. We're not really sheltered type people anyway, but going through these small towns in Iowa, they come up with some crazy stuff. One of them, remember the donkey show?
The donkey show. They were advertising for this donkey show for like
miles.
And I swear there was one, like every half mile they had another little blurb of what this donkey show was.
Best since Tijuana, like whatever.
And it was one of those things that these locals all banded together to, get some money made for their town to help, further their town in better ways. Yeah. And you got to actually meet a donkey. It was the cutest donkey. Little thing.
And yes, children cover your ears. They did have a blow-up doll sitting on top of the donkey, and there were some other things that were a little bit more adult themed in there, but it wasn't weird. You got to pet a very nice donkey. And take some pictures and all that kind of stuff, and everybody was real respectful. But when we came up to it, there was a guy in like a giant cowboy hat and a pickle costume, and then another guy with a blow-up donkey, and they were selling it hard, man. Some of the other things, the couch on the second to last day.
Yep.
This farmer was just doing laps around this part of the street in the town, and he had a trailer on the back of his tractor that spun this couch that was mounted to the top of it. Very safe. But me, Nolan, and Christina had a blast doing that. And just what other things did you find the locals and just talking to them?
It's always great if you can stop and patron some kid's lemonade stand. They're sometimes right as soon as you get on your bike and you're ready to be heading out of town. That's where their lemonade stands are. Or they're not always in the most opportune spots, because there was definitely one that was like halfway up a really steep hill and nobody was wanting to stop. But it's one of those things that if you stop and patron a child's lemonade stand that they're trying to, put forth there, they put a lot of energy into it, that they're trying to make a little bit of money, it's really important, because it will make a bigger difference in that child's life than it will in the food truck's life that you see every single day.
Not talking smack on food trucks, but...
we ate our fair share of food trucks, too.
But the kids,
The kids that we bought a few things from a few different Boy Scouts. We bought stuff from sports teams. We got our showers from sports teams.
That helped, get uniforms and stuff for the local junior high or high school,
so it's those locals.
Yeah. Well, and actually, in some of the towns, right as you come in, you could park your bike, and then they had a ask an old person a question type thing. So man, that was fantastic. You got to know a little bit of the history of the town and all that kind of stuff. So just if you have a second, take an interest in the locals, and you'll actually learn quite a bit.
Yep, for sure. The next thing is the Iowa Beer Bus. Ooh. It is a converted school bus that has a whole bunch of different Iowa beer in it, and it is good beer. Although I did prefer the other beer tent that we're going to talk about next. But the Iowa Beer Bus was always a good time.
Oh, man. The Iowa Beer Bus. Oh, well, and she said it's a yellow school bus, so I mean, you can't miss it. Just craft beer bus. And they had some great, it's all local, too. Did you already say that?
Yep.
If you did, I'm sorry. It was tasty, man. I don't know what to say. And they did have kind of kid-friendly options, too. They had a homemade root beer, I think.
Other one. They do have non-alcoholic drinks. They were mostly cans of different Pepsi sodas. I don't remember the spread exactly. Yeah. But they did have some non-alcoholic versions.
And we found them, normally they're not in one of the meeting towns. They're either in one of the past, they're outside of towns typically, is where we encounter them, on somebody's farm or something. Kind of like Mr. Porkchop in that way. They're always outside of town. So, and you see them usually, I think we saw them in the beginning, kind of the middle of the day, and then kind of closer to the end of the day a little bit.
They only have one. Iowa Beer Bus only has one.
Oh, right.
He's getting confused with our next one, which is the craft beer tent.
It is a craft beer bus. Craft beer tent. Which is great. And they do have homemade... Now that we're actually talking about the craft beer tent.
That's number 6.
That is number 6. And they do have homemade root beer, which Nolan and I really love root beer.
Really good.
Yeah, so sometimes we get that instead of beer. But they have free pours. They don't have... Not free pours. They have what is it? The draft. They have drafts.
Yeah.
And a lot of good IPAs, local. Somewhere in Des Moines and all over Iowa. So
and they are actually the ones that if you stop at a certain number, I don't remember what the number is,
right.
You get a free T-shirt at the end of it.
At the end of the ride, yeah.
But you have to clock in with your. They give you a wristband and they clock you in every single time that you buy a beer from them.
Right.
And you have to hit a certain number of their craft beer tents, and I think they're the ones who have 2 a day sometimes.
Yeah. Now the thing we will say, some people, including us, describe RAGBRAI as a, beer drinkers with a biking problem, but please drink responsibly. Like we had beers throughout the day, but we don't get hammered. Like it's important because it can also dehydrate you, so stay hydrated, have a great time, but also, pace yourself a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
Yep, make sure that you can make it to the next town before the sun goes down.
Yeah. What's our next thing?
The next thing is the Iowa Conservation Tent.
Oh, that's fun, yeah.
This is a really fun tent because they actually have postcards that you can send out to people. With a small donation, they'll send out your postcards for you. And it's really fun to be in the middle of Iowa, in the middle of a cornfield, and be able to send a postcard to people saying, haha, we're on RAGBRAI, we're on this great adventure. And most of those people are like, yeah, I don't want to be on that adventure with you. But it's always fun to get postcards from people. I love postcards.
I do too, but it's really funny because I totally missed the stop when Christina stopped. She's like, postcards. I'm like, yeah, okay. And I was biking a little bit ahead of her and Nolan, but they stopped, and she actually sent me one.
I did.
She was on the ride. And I don't remember if you told me or not. You might have, but I received it, a week or so after the ride, and it was just, it was a fun memento because we were so high on RAGBRAI brain, at that point in time, we just, get a little bit of RAGBRAI comes home with you like that.
It's great.
So what was our next thing? Oh, Beekman's ice cream. Mm-hmm. Beekman's ice cream. Imagine homemade ice cream, right? And all of the ice cream machines, they are steam powered, fire powered. All of them were made 100 years ago, the homemade ice cream. So, oh man, it is so good. They have a variety of flavors. It's smooth. It's, how do you describe it?
10 out of 10 would recommend.
Oh yeah.
It's worth the line. There was one day that I'm pretty sure the line was two blocks long. It was a long line. Totally worth it. But it also moves pretty quickly. They are able to get people through that line and moving very fast.
And then the lady that we encountered that ran it is super nice, and it's been in her family for a generation at least, because Beekman's is a RAGBRAI staple, so you cannot miss Beekman's ice cream.
Do it at least one day.
The distinctive sound is that it's the sound of the steam engines going to really turn that ice cream. So you can't miss it,
For sure.
By ear.
The next thing that we always recommend is Church Lady dinner and Church Lady pie.
Yeah.
So if you are looking for more of a homemade meal during RAGBRAI and you're kind of sick of the food trucks, most often the churches actually provide dinner meals that you can get.
Good, yeah.
And it is good. We had some really great ones, and it was $10 for the entire meal, and we got a salad, and pasta was the most common one that we saw. But there was a few that had pork, sandwiches, and there was another one that had
lasagna. We have lasagna. That's kind of pasta.
Lasagna. It's still pasta.
Yeah.
But they were really good. The one thing that we would say about those dinners is note that they do run out. So if you want to do those, don't go down to town first. Go to the churches, get your dinner, then go downtown and party.
The good thing about those, a lot of those church dinners, is that there's signs that'll tell you kind of where the church is or what they're serving that night. So
which church it is. You gotta remember which church.
The Lutherans are selling, or they're offering something way different, or just different than what the Baptists are. And then the Catholics are doing something else, Yep. But they're very hospitable. They give you, you get a drink with it, and then you're usually a place sometimes while you wait. Because we had to wait in pews one of the nights for a good 20-30 minutes. It wasn't too bad. It also gave us a nice place to cool down and charge our stuff.
Yes.
So we were able to do that. So
that was very nice. That we had our little bag of stuff and we could plug it in and charge it as we needed.
But also within this is that church lady pie. Now, there is sometimes pie at those church dinners you'll see, but we're talking about on the route.
Yeah.
Or
during
the day, or in one of the towns or something. But remember that time? What was it? What kind of pie did we have? The first church lady pie.
Rhubarb.
Rhubarb pie.
Oh my goodness. they were only down to rhubarb, but rhubarb is actually my favorite type of pie. So when they're like, well, you're a little bit later in the day, so all we have left is rhubarb pie, and I was like, yes.
We'll have the rhubarb. Definitely the rhubarb.
It was amazing. And it's just because, it's these women who have baked pies for a very long time, and they know how to bake. And it's just so delicious to have it. And they had ice cream you could put on top.
Whipped topping. I mean, and there's plenty of options. Like, just get down there, and if you see church lady pie, at least stop once and get a church lady pie. It's usually not very pricey either. I think it was like $5 a slice or something like that. So, not too bad. And sometimes you need a sugar recharge throughout that day's ride. So get some church lady pie. The next thing is
our last number 10.
Number 10 is sweet corn. Sweet corn. Eat sweet corn. Okay. Iowa's known for it. There's like field corn, which isn't really human consumption, and the sweet corn. We actually found a place in some of the meeting towns some of the days that give you free sweet corn. So it's kind of like an Iowa corn museum. It was just a truck. You walk through and you can learn a little bit more about agriculture in Iowa. And then at the very end, a nice buttery steamed sweet corn.
Oh, and it was so good.
Yeah, it was great.
Definitely find that truck.
Always.
And then you also get a sticker that says I heart corn.
Yeah, I wore mine. It fell off in the ride, but I still wore it as long as I could. So there's our 10. There's our 10,
but we're going to give you a bonus tip. Of the thing that you definitely cannot miss doing on RAGBRAI, and if you do, you're kind of missing the point of RAGBRAI. And it is talking with your fellow riders and making friends for 2 miles or 20 miles. The amount of stories you hear of where people are from, why they decided to do this ride, and everything is so interesting. You can't miss it because there's some people who are like, oh yeah, I got towed on this ride when I was 3 years old, and now I'm riding it for the first time myself at 23 years old. Right. Or a whole bunch of friends came in from New York who were, none of them were cyclists.
Let's ride together.
But this friend was like, oh yeah, they're going through my hometown this year, and I want to do RAGBRAI. And so 10 friends who have never cycled that far before were doing it, cycling across.
Yeah, we kept running into them too on the ride. There was another group of guys I was talking to on the ride that actually were doing it on BMX bikes, and I was like, respect. Like, no gears either. I mean, they were going pretty fast. I mean, they were keeping up with some of the road cyclists. I was surprised. I mean, they were pedaling like that, but they were doing it, man. And then you see all kinds of different bikes, and just you see an interesting person, and I did bike with this lady for 5 or 10 miles, and she was 78 years old. And she had done, not every RAGBRAI, but almost all of them. And just some of the stories she had was phenomenal. And just get out your shell a little bit and talk to your fellow riders.
Say hi.
Yeah.
Because you'll never know. And sometimes if it's miles of flat or miles of hills, sometimes it's great to have somebody to talk to a little bit on the way and learn everybody's story.
They don't call it Iowa nice for nothing, man.
It's true.
People of Iowa, we love you. We're definitely coming back and look forward to this year's ride.
We do.
Yeah.
So we want to know, what were the things that you think that we missed? If you want to let us know what you would never want to miss on RAGBRAI, because we want to know. So if we are missing something essential, because we got to go get it too.
Oh yeah, we've only done it once, so we're gonna do it this year. Let us know, and we'll definitely hit it up next time.
We hope to see you on RAGBRAI.
Absolutely. Ride registration's still open.
Depends on when you see this video.
That's true.
I'm Christina.
And I'm Eric, and together we are
Roosevelt's Ride.
We'll see you on the trail.
See you at RAGBRAI.
Take care.